What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Really Uncensored Talk. This your boy K Rock, and I am back with another one. Okay, now, real quick, now you already know. So the past few weeks, y'all know, they had the Ahmaud Arbery trial. Um, uh, Recently they just convicted the three guys of murder and some other counts of other felonies as well. Here's what I want to touch on. I want to touch on really the closing arguments that were made by the prosecution, and really the whole case that was done by the prosecution. Which I want to say that the prosecution did exactly what they were supposed to do. They proved without a shadow of a doubt, watching the whole case, listening to the prosecution talk, and just listening to the defense. You know, First and foremost, I want to point out that, and she made this very clear. And yeah, the law is different in some states, but I believe that all laws should be the same in every state, especially when it comes to self-defense and making citizens arrests and things like that. Okay, first of all, she made it clear you cannot perform a citizen's arrest on anyone without having a shadow of a doubt saw that person commit a crime, which Travis got on the stand and basically was like, "Oh, well, I don't know if he actually committed a crime or not. I was just investigating." You're not a law enforcement officer. You don't have the jurisdiction and the authority to investigate a situation. Yeah, you can investigate shit on the side, like if your neighbor want to, show you some clips and some videos of somebody breaking into their house. But that information, if you've already called 911 about those prior incidents, that should be information that should be sent over to the police, and the police will be investigating that, not you. And if you had any idea or any clue as to who the person was, you should have contacted law enforcement. You should have stayed on the phone with law enforcement. You should have let law enforcement do their job, especially if you claim that you had the man in your sight. It's one thing to follow someone and wait for law enforcement to get in. It's another thing to act on your own as if you're a law enforcement officer, commanding someone to stop, telling this man, "Hey, you stop! God damn it, stop!" Wait, what? You're not a law enforcement officer. You don't have probable cause nor the jurisdiction to make this man stop, whether he committed a crime or not. You didn't see this man commit a crime. And it doesn't matter. Listen, let's throw out the race factor. This has nothing to do with race. This is the simplicity between knowing the law and knowing the difference between right and wrong. That's it. Has nothing to do with race. Let the media play the race card, because I don't even listen to the media. Because let the media have it. If the media had the world the way they wanted it, it would be black versus white every single goddamn day. And I don't like the media. But I will tell you this much. The McMichaels and the other guy, I don't remember his name. Don't really too much care. Um, you guys committed multiple felonies, and one, you had no business pursuing this man. You had no business cornering this man and trapping this man. And I know this for a fact because when I used to work at Save a Lot, we kind of used to do something similar. We would, if someone was stealing in the store, obviously we would see the person stealing like on camera. We would perform like a citizen's, kind of like a citizen's arrest, and detain that, that shopper, that suspected shoplifter, until the police come in. But of course, we got evidence. We got the camera in the back and all that stuff. It's clear point evidence. You can see the person stealing out, from out the store. Ain't nobody going and grabbing no guns out their cars and pointing the gun to, to the person stealing out the store, saying, "Hey, get on the ground, hey, I'm gonna shoot you," type deal. No, it don't work like that. And this guy had the audacity to say that, he was in fear of his father's safety. Man, pimping, your father had a 357 Magnum. Do you know how powerful that thing is? A 357 revolver? Your father at no point in time was in danger. It was three of you. You guys chased this man down in two vehicles and trapped this man on the street. it'd have been different if, this man was running down the road and he saw y'all, and decided to, just dump some shots off at y'all, or maybe, threw a brick at one of your windows or some shit like that, and then tried to take off running. That's different. Y'all pursued this man. You tried to force him to stop. You tried to give orders to this man as if he was a police officer. Just because you suspect someone, well, let me rephrase that. As a citizen, just because you suspect another citizen of committing a crime doesn't automatically give you the authority to detain them, or pull a gun out on them, or run them down the street in a vehicle and trap them and confine them and take away their rights. Hell, even police officers have to follow proper procedures. And there's levels to the escalation process that the police have to follow. A police just can't just go, hey, you stop. And then the person will stop and then they whip out their gun and shoot them. No, it don't work like that, bruh. Which is probably the reason why you want a goddamn cop. Oh, God forbid if we had any cops like y'all. But this ain't even about cops, because cops ain't had nothing to do with this. Now, whatever was going on, in your neighborhood, I'm sorry that your neighborhoods were getting broken into, or things were getting broken into in your neighborhood. And yeah, and if that's the situation where y'all constantly had break-ins and the police weren't doing nothing about it, then yeah, in that terms of that situation, yes, I fought the police. But now you have to take into consideration of the fact that it just wasn't a black man with tattoos and a short haircut that was a potential suspect. There were other potential suspects as well. Did you guys go and try to pursue them? Did you go take your gun out and go run up on any of them? No, you did not. But you saw a black man running down the street, you automatically assumed, oh, this man committed a crime. It's not even the fact about him being black. It's you saw somebody running down the street and you assumed because he was running down the street that he was guilty, and that you had the proper authority to grab a gun at your house and go chase this man down the street and try to confine this man to an area, try to trap him in the area. And then I heard that one of your vehicles ran a man into a ditch. What's wrong with y'all, bro? What the hell is wrong with y'all? Now, I only seen one video of a police officer actually running a suspect over. But other than that, I have not ever seen a police officer purposely try to run somebody over or hit them with their car. You know what I'm saying? They might hit somebody who's trying to run away from them on the highway in a vehicle. They might hit them. That's understandable. That's a whole nother situation in itself. But if you running from the police in a car, obviously that's automatic problem, because cops don't come after you, because what you running for? But in y'all case, first of all, you guys are not police officers. You are regular civilians. And yes, I get it. You guys are probably upset. You probably had the George Zimmerman thing going on in your head. Man, I'm just tired. I'm tired of people breaking into my neighbors' houses and my houses and this, that, and the third. So you know what? I'm going to take matters into my own hands. And your actions showed that you decided to take matters into your own hands. You were not going to give the police or law enforcement the opportunity to try to, resolve the situation. And that's where y'all fucked up at. And especially you, Travis, that's where you fucked up at. And then my whole thing is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that people were breaking into your homes or your neighbors' homes, or you felt like this guy was suspicious because he was running down the road from whatever situation may have happened. You didn't have the authority to command this man to stop. You didn't have the authority to pursue this man. You didn't have the authority to trap this man and try to detain him. And you damn sure didn't have the authority to shoot him. And then I like when she said that they tried to plead self-defense. Like she said, you cannot commit a felony and then plead self-defense during that felony. Because if that's the case, excuse me, I'm sorry. If that's the case, a lot of robbers and that committed murders during the felony process, they wouldn't be guilty of that. They wouldn't be guilty of that murder if that was the case. You know what I'm saying? So you committed multiple felonies because you thought you knew the law, which you didn't really know the law. And that resulted in a man losing his life. So instead of a potential suspect, because if he really was a suspect, then yeah, go ahead and arrest him. I'm all for that. If the man was a suspect, and if the police were able to do, if they were able to do due diligence and do the proper investigating and link this man to whatever videos that they had or whatever evidence that they had, then he would be sitting behind bars too, and he would still be alive, and you guys wouldn't be sitting behind bars at all. But since you took this man's life in one of the most heinous ways possible, now all three of you finna sit behind bars for probably the rest of y'all life. Travis was the only one who was charged with malice murder. And I like how they broke down the malice murder, that it doesn't have to be intentional. Like, it doesn't have to be premeditated. It doesn't have to be planned. It can just be a situation where you don't care what happens to the person in what you're doing because you feel like you're right. And you were wrong. And I think the situation when, Travis pulled out the gun, you clearly, at that point, when you pulled out that shotgun and started pointing towards that man, you didn't have it tucked to your side. You had that bit forward like this. To me, if someone's pointing a shotgun at me, and I don't know if anybody else thinks this way, I'm going to assume that motherfucker ready to shoot me. So if you see somebody pointing a gun at you, whether it's a shotgun, a rifle, handgun, pistol, it doesn't matter. If somebody sees someone else pointing a gun at them, they're more than likely going to assume that you're trying to shoot them. Hell, a person would feel that way if the cop pulled a gun out on them. They'd be like, oh, damn, damn, this motherfucker, damn, police finna shoot me. I better not do nothing stupid. But in situations, police have the authority. Once they escalate it, once police escalate the situation properly, if deadly force is needed, if excessive force is needed, then they apply it. But it's not something where, the cop felt like he was in the right and just decided, I'm gonna shoot this man. No. Because the cop ain't finna go investigate nobody without the probable cause, first and foremost. And you guys had no probable cause. All your shit was just back and forth gossip, along with, videos that were shared amongst you guys, I guess. Which, y'all not cops. And then on top of that, all y'all got guns? Most of your neighbors got guns. Most of y'all are armed. And then think about this. And I know there's stupid criminals out there. I know there's stupid criminals out there. I know there's guys that are dumb enough to go in the same neighborhoods that they've been going into and robbing, and continuing to do it until they ultimately get caught. That's like guys that murder people, serial killers. They'll sit there and sit in the same damn area, murdering motherfuckers in the same area until they get caught. That's if they get caught. But 9 times out of 10, a decent criminal that knows what they're doing is not going to hit the same area over and over and over and over again, then run through the area just to get chased down and shot. And then I'm still stuck on the other suspects. Y'all were accusing multiple people. Yeah, you were accusing multiple people of breaking into whatever it is that was being broken into people's homes. I guess there was some cars that got broken into, somebody's house got broken into, somebody's toolbox got stolen, somebody's guns and stuff got stolen, and all this shit happened over periods of time. So you can't even assume that it was the same person. I don't know, man. I don't know what the hell this world coming to. But like I said, man, this situation, this ain't about Ahmaud Arbery being black. Ahmaud Arbery being black. This ain't about Travis McMichaels, his father, Mr. McMichaels, or the other guy, his neighbor. This ain't about them being white. This is simply about 3 men who thought they were performing a citizen's arrest, was not aware that they were committing felonies, and instead of instead of doing the actual research or taking the actual time to understand, how to go about performing a proper citizen's arrest, they decided to take matters into their own hands when they went upstairs and started grabbing guns and shit. So I don't feel bad for either of these guys. The only people I feel bad for is their family members that's probably more than likely going to be affected, because you always have two sides that's affected, the victim side and the convicted side. So you always have two sides of a situation like this where two parties are being affected by it. And the only tip I can give to everybody is don't let the media try to continue to play this shit as if it's a racial thing. It may have been just a strong case of mistaken identity where somebody might have saw a video of their house or their car being broken into and may have saw a black man, so they assumed that, okay, well, it's definitely a black man probably going around. And it's fair. It's fair to make that assumption because everybody can make an assumption, but you can't act out on assumptions. That's like if my neighbor came up to me and said, man, dude, I think your gardener's been stealing stuff out your house, man. And then I go and shoot my gardener because my neighbor told me that he thinks that my gardener has been stealing out my house. And then I assume that my gardener has been stealing out of my house because my neighbor told me. I'm going to jail. The law doesn't work like that. And it doesn't matter what your race is. Nobody should be above the law. Police officers shouldn't be above the law. Politicians, judges, lawyers, no one should be above the law. Even if you exercise or enforce the law, you're not above it. And that's what people don't understand that, man. And that's why I said, man, I really wish they wouldn't have never let George Zimmerman get away with what he got away with, because that set a precedent in a lot of other places where guys started saying, well, you know what? If we see suspicious people walking around our neighborhood or running around our neighborhood, we can just go command them to stop. Or question them and ask them what they're doing. And if things get violent, hell, I'll just holler self-defense. No, it don't work that way. It reminds me of the situation with Mr. Adil DeGee and Mr. Terry Turner. How, Mr. Terry Turner, claimed that Mr. Adil DeGee was in his driveway. It was his car. And then when he said when he came out, Mr. DeGee, took off or whatever. So the man took off. And you decide to run down the street and, pursue the man. Then you banged on his window. You didn't see him commit no crime. You just saw the car in your driveway. He ain't take nothing from your house. He ain't steal nothing from your house. And you didn't say no crime. The only thing you said, you said it was a suspicious car at your door. He could have been at the wrong house. How you know that you don't know what he was doing. So if you don't know what a person's doing, you can't just go and grab a gun and be like, pulling guns out on people like this is the fucking Wild West back in the 1800s. And it's not. This is a whole country with constitution, with rights established for each and every citizen in this country. And every person's supposed to respect everyone else's rights as a citizen. But we don't. And then you have stuff like this happen. So, for all you people, this ain't just for no specific race of people. This is for everybody that's carrying a gun or, think they high and mighty, because they got a gun in their house and they feel like they're the protector of their community and their neighborhood. I'm going to tell you this. I support people that will stand up if there's like rioting and stuff. I support people that's strong enough to, say, hey, we're going to protect our community. You know what I'm saying? I support that. What I don't support is senseless killings. Because people got the big head. That's what I don't support. There's procedures. If you don't follow the procedures, then there's consequences behind it. So with this, I'm glad that these three men got what they deserve. And I wish that these same prosecutors, I wish they was on George Zimmerman trial. Because I guarantee you, if that prosecution would have done what the lady did, George Zimmerman would be sitting in prison right now too. So George Zimmerman, you got lucky. But hopefully this trial sets a precedent for future trials in which people try to use that same bullshit self-defense excuse. But people are actually starting to acknowledge that if you commit a crime, if you're committing a felony, if you're committing a crime, and then you kill somebody in the process of committing that crime, then ain't no way in hell that you can sit there and say or try to plead self-defense. That needs to be a precedent set for every trial across this country. And with that being said, I love y'all. I know this video kind of long, but I had to really speak up on this one, man. But let me know what y'all think. And before I go, I wanna just twist your mind with something. Like I told y'all before, this ain't about race. But imagine, and I just want to hear your comments, I want to hear your opinions on it. Just imagine if 3 black men would have grabbed guns, hopped in 2 trucks, chased the white man down, trying to command him to stop, trapped him in a ditch area on the street, and then shot him. Let me know what y'all think about that. All right. Peace and love, y'all. Y'all know what it is, and tune in to my next episode.